Casa Diary NonFiction. Here we go. I'm just going to talk about stuff. Take a look at my home. This is home. I'm going to be talking about all kinds of stuff. I just want you to see where it's coming from. We're in the Oak Canada, British Columbia. Hope you enjoy all the stuff I make, tidbits of our life. Hi, this is Darren Soldrinsky from Casa Diary NonFiction with another video for you. This one is about password protect your image. So it takes a binary image, JPEG or some other image file, and it puts a password on it, changes it to an exe so you can try to run it. It'll ask you for a password and it'll display it for you. It's a way to protect or to encrypt an image with a password, but it encrypts the image. So I'm going to give you the tool. Tool's not mine, but it's a public domain tool, and it is something very small you can use to encrypt messages in video, or not in video, in an image. You might want to pass information around. You can store it on your email, wherever, because if anybody tries to read it, they can't. It's got a password on it. So I'm going to show you really quick how to use it. I'm going to create, if you look in my other videos, I use something called ConstantList values. I'm going to put a ConstantList value. I'm going to password protect it as an image, and I'm going to take you right to the end where I would actually email that, and phone somebody with telling them that I'm sending them a constant value. And like I said, if you look at the other videos, you'll understand what I mean by constant list value. It's very important in encrypting using the other tools. The tool I use all the way through, you'll see in here, like you can see, there's a thing called #check install. And what it basically does is this tool, when you install it on Windows machine, it will, when you do a right click on the properties and look at the properties of any file, it'll give you the checksum values of that file. Every file has a unique checksum value, and when you make changes, it constantly changes the checksum value. It's a way of you confirming that a file has not been modified or not corrupt. So I use this tool for a lot of things, especially over the internet. And then there's this tool for, I've renamed a tool called LockImage to password protect image, and I saved it in a zip file. In this zip file that we're going to go get, we'll have these two tools in it, and some other reference material. But these are the two main ones here that you're going to need, which is the #check install and the password protect image to do this job. Okay, so I am going to now start the process. Okay, so up above here you'll see this is just a folder I'm going to use to put the zip file. This is the README instructions here, and we're just going to follow along. Okay, first thing we're going to do is to go to internetmobilemedia.com, and we're going to download the zip file. This is where I'm storing all my information, all my zip files. They're not very big, but it's up and running all the time, so you can download it at any time, 24/7, 365, all available to you. Again, everything I do, or almost everything I do pretty much, is free. I offer it free because I'm a freedom fighter. I'm trying to help you fight the system. I mean, encryption is going to be outlawed one day, so we're gonna have to figure out, store all this stuff and use it anyway, like fight the system using it. A lot of encryption stuff they've got back doors. They cost a lot of money. They're big. This thing's all the opposite. So, okay, let's go. So we're going to go to Internet Mobile Media. Just bring in the browser here. So here we are. Now, basically, what I've done is I've already typed that URL into the area up here, right? I've already typed it in up here. Hit enter, and it's taken me here to Internet Mobile Media. You might want to check out this site. It's cool. It's got mobile media, a container that it's got to offer. You could do it yourself or get me. This is my site to build it for you. But check it out if you have time. Okay, we're going to the MISC tab, which is right above here. Can you see me circling it? MISC tab. Click on the MISC tab, which is where I'm putting everything. If you now scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll find a new icon, and this icon says password protect image zip, and it's got the hash values to compare to make sure that you got an uncorrupted, unmodified version downloaded. Okay, we're going to click on the zip, and we're going to download it. And this is the directory I'm putting it to. You can see it's a zip file. Just save it. It only takes a moment. See, I've already done it to test it. And next what we're going to do is, or not next, you'll see. We'll compare it against these values here, but not at the moment right yet. Okay, so you can minimize that. Now we're going to take the zip file that we have sitting right here, and we're going to extract it. So let's extract it. I'm going to double click on it. Well, let me just see if I can right click on it and extract it. If I right clicked, does it give me an option to extract? Oh, extract all, it says right here. If I right click on it and I say extract all, it asks me where I want to put it. I just want to put it in the same spot. So I just say extract, and there she goes. Okay, so it extracted it right there. Now what we're going to do is go inside. Let's go into the folder, and there you go. So just to give you a rundown quick, README is just instructions, reference instructions. The video, you can watch the video, but if you don't understand something or you're not watching the video, you can use the README as instruction. The password protect image is one of the two files I told you about. So this is the one that'll put the password and encrypt the image with a password on it. So this is the file that will do that job. Hash check, of course. Hash check is the tool that you need to check the checksum values, because you always want to make sure you've got a good copy, uncorrupted copy, unmodified copy when you're using the web and when you're actually giving your files to somebody. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, first of all, let's go, and I'm going to tell you that these two tools, they run on Windows. Okay, so they run on Windows. And as an example, when you install HashCheck, when you run that executable, this is what you're going to get. It's going to ask you if you want to install it. It's going to say allow app to make changes. Right in here, it might prompt you for that with some security thing, and you say yes, and then it'll be in HashCheck. See, it's called a HashCheck shell extension because that's what it is, and of course you say okay, and when you use it, it gives you these messages, you know, like you might have to log off. I haven't had to yet, but it works on all Windows. So basically, again, so you right click on the file name in File Explorer, and you go to the properties, and then there'll be a checksums tab there, and in here now you'll see it'll have your checksum values. So I'm just showing you that. Now, if you're a Mac user or Linux user, because these are Windows tools, you need to go to here. So I've already said you need to go to Oracle. Go to Oracle VM VirtualBox. Now, you can install Oracle VM VirtualBox on Macs. Here's a Mac one. There's Mac, or there's Linux or Solaris. So there is Linux platforms right here. Linux platforms are Mac platforms. You can download the virtual VM, and then basically what you're going to do is install a Windows. So it's still your Mac OS, or it's still your Linux OS, but you can install a virtual box, which you can just bring up, that'll have a Windows operating system in it, and then you can use these tools in that virtual box on your Mac or on your Linux box. So you can use these tools, but you're going to have to run it in a Windows environment using VirtualBox here. Oracle VM VirtualBox is free. Okay, so you just need to go through that process. Okay, but I wanted to show you that it can be done, and you can use it, but you got to go and do this. I'm not going to show you how to do this. You're going to have to do it. There's instructions in here. Just go to Oracle VM VirtualBox, and then there's the download area. There's also instruction area, and it'll show you how to do it. And this, I'm not going to show you in here how to do it. I'm showing you how to use it in Windows right now. But I wanted to show you that the site does exist, and you can go and do it anytime. Okay, so let's go back to I wanted to say. So okay, so we downloaded the zip, extracted the zip. I did some described what the contents were, told you where to get the Oracle VM. Okay, so we're good to go. So now we're set. But you haven't done anything yet. You haven't installed anything yet. So before you do anything, of course, then you want to do the first thing you want to do. Okay, is when you're working on anything that you're going to encrypt, is you want to disable Ethernet and Wi-Fi. So what you do is you go to your control panel, your network connections, and then you'll see all your connections, Ethernet connections and Wi-Fi, and you want to disable them all. So we're going to take this one. This is my one, because we were just on the internet downloading the zip file. Now we're going to disable that connection. So the Ethernet connection, because that's a physical cable. You can actually pull a cable if you want, but you could have been connected Wi-Fi, of course. Oh, and just so I have to understand, this is the other thing about this. Again, this only works on laptops and PCs. It doesn't work on your tablet or your phone. So these tools, you have to get a laptop. Okay, most people have laptops, but the laptop does it. You know, the tools were never developed for tablets back in 2001 and 2002, and phones, they weren't like that back then. So these tools haven't been changed since then. So that you can actually almost guarantee that they haven't been that the tools used to build them haven't been corrupted either. So the programs are good because they're older. Alright, so we've done that. Alright, so now we've disabled the Ethernet, which is good. Now you can do the install. Okay, so now going back to what I said, if it wasn't already installed on your system, and that's going back to, again, like I said, the picture in here, looking at the checksum value, you do the install. You do the install of the check install, right? Hash check cell setup. You do the install of this on this PC. So that's what that is. once you've got that, once you have that installed, you want to confirm that your values, your files are correct. So that the ones you've got are not corrupt and they haven't been modified, because who knows, maybe somebody hijacked the freaking connection or your files or something, and you're not working on the ones that I've given you, or good ones, not corrupt ones. So okay, so now you've got this hash check install, and you pretty much need this for everything that you're doing. Even in any of my other videos, I pretty much use this tool all the time because I'm always looking at the checksum values. You should be doing that all the time when you're working on the internet and downloading stuff. So I will, let's go back to, I should go back to browser again for a second. Okay, back over here. Remember, this was, here's their values right here. Now, what we're going to do is go here, and we're going to do right click on the, it's the zip file, right? So we got to go up one folder. Here's the zip file. Let's just make sure that our zip file, I right click on the zip file, go to properties, and here's the checksums tab. Now, what we want to do is compare. Right, so we're going to compare these values against these values, and they should be the same. That would mean the zip file that you downloaded is good. Then the other things you can do once you're at this stage is you don't need this guy that confirms that the zip is right, but now you can do in the README file that's sitting in this folder that you're going to get in that README file right here, which is basically this one that I'm showing you, but mine's just got a couple extra things just for the session right now. You can compare the hash check values. If you go down to the bottom, I have hash check values here for, like, example. Here's the one for exe. Here's the one that's inside that zip file. You can just do a right click on it, go to properties, do a checksum, and now you can compare, and you'll see that they're the same. So the one inside the zip file, it should be this one, right? So in the README it'll tell you. So now you can compare these exes, including the source code, including the zip ones in there too, to make sure that you've got a good uncorrupt version. Okay, so let's move on. Next. Alrighty, so where are we? So we check the hash check values. Great. Alright, so this is the next step to do, which is kind of like the part that we're going to do is you can take a picture of anything, okay? You can have a JPEG of anything, and you can put password protected, okay? And you can just repeatedly, use this tool to do as many as you want, but you can only do one at a time. You can't do movies, but you can do a pic at a time. But there's a couple of ways I do it, okay? One way is I use Notepad, and then I use a snipping tool just to take a pic and then save it as a JPEG, or you can just use Paint. I'm going to show you both really quick, that it's not hard to do. Just so you can choose which one you want. Or the reason why I like the snipping tool is because you can take a snip of anything, like pretty much any windows or anything that you're looking on the web or anything. You can take a snip of it, and you can actually password protect that pic in a second. But the Notepad one actually allows you another option as well, as to actually type something in. Right? You could type something in. Paint does too, but it's a little clunky. Okay, so let's do the Notepad one. So the first thing I do is I'm just going to grab a Notepad file. So just open a new Notepad Untitled doc. Okay, Just do that, and let's, here's a constant value as an example. Here's a constant value. I want to, I'm just going to paste it in here. I would normally just manually type this in, and then size it, just bring it up here like this. And I'm just going to show you quick what this meaning of this constant is. It's actually in the other video, but I just want to show you because I'm not sure if people understand it that well. So okay, so I'm going to just do an example hash check value on the properties, or excuse me, on the protect password protect one. Okay, so you can see what it is right here. Now my constant says MD5, so I take all of MD5. Here's an example of how I create my value for encryption. I paste that in there. Then then what I would do is I say then I SHA1, and I take all of SHA1. Right, so this is what this constant value is meaning. I put it at the end, paste it. Now it just happens to be wrapping. I could take the wrap off. See, let's just leave the wrap off for a minute. Okay, then I want to hard code these values, so I want to put that at the end. Copy. I'm just kind of showing you what this is all doing. There's that. And the last thing was I wanted the last 5 characters of MD4. So I go here and I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Control C, and I take this to the end here, Control V, and there you go. Now you've got this would be like my seed, my key value that I would use for encrypting. So as an example. So that's what this constant, how it works, how you do it. And then this key value you would use in the encryption tool in the other videos to encrypt a document, a text document. I'm just telling you what the constant value does. That's all I'm doing here. This is not totally related to password protecting the PIC. It's just in case you didn't quite understand it in the previous video, I'm just going over it again one more time. But that's it for that. I'm just let's get rid of this now. Okay, let's go back to what we're doing here. Okay, so here's Notepad. Now what I do is I normally take a snipping tool, and this is where you can use a snipping tool and create a image document anytime of anything. It doesn't even have to be this, right? So you can look at every Windows has like a snipping tool. This here's an example. I have Windows 10 on here, but this is snipping tool 10.0. Different versions of Windows have different snipping tools. You can download some if you want, or no, don't even use the snipping tool. Like I said, you can use Paint to do this. I'll show you real quick how to do it. But just say new, okay, and then you just take a snipping shot like that, right? And then you got it here. Then you just go save as, and of course you're going to save it. Whoops, we're going to go desktop. Where are we here? Right there. This is where I was. Okay, so this one's capture 1. We're just going to name it capture 1. And you can see it's already a JPEG. And we'll save it. And that's it. Now you've already saved your JPEG image of your constant value inside. Okay, so we just close this guy down. You don't need the snipping tool anymore. And the untitled, I can close the untitled too. So when I close it, just don't save. Okay. And you can see in here now, right there it's saved as a JPEG, right? So that's a way to create the JPEG of something text that you want to write in, and just do a thing. But you can also do it with Paint. So bring up your Paint version in your Windows. They all have Paints in Windows, and Paint's included. It's not something you have to buy. And you can, let's grab this value in here again. We're going to do copy, right? And now this is Paint. Now we're going to put text in there. And I'm just going to plop it in there. Not make it too big. Bring it down to 20. Paste. There we go. Shrink it back down. Create it to a nice manageable size. So there you see in Paint. And now I go File and you save as. You see you can put a bitmap file or GIF. It'll do those as well. Password protect those as well, but we're doing a JPEG. It says where do you want it. Of course we're picking it the same place. This time we're going to call it Capture 2. Oops. Just to show you that it can do it. And there she goes. Now we can close this. We're done. So here we are. So we got version 2 and version 1 using two different methods of creating a JPEG, right? Just to show you again. What can I do? Just to show you, I'll just open in Paint, example. Yeah, so this is the one I did. See, it says actually Notepad in here. This is the one I did with a snipping tool, right? Now here's the one, and if we open this one with Paint again, you can see it's the one I just finished doing, right? So there you go. So now you got that image. Okay, so basically in this section right here, that's what this is about. It's about creating an image. Like I said, you can use a snipping tool just to create any image in the thing. It could be a message. Usually you use a notepad to type a message, and then you can use a snipping tool to save it as a JPEG. Or just go right into Paint and do it, I guess, if you want to. It's just that Paint's not very good. Or you could use your Word document or your open source document, and you can type your message and then just do a snippet, either cut and paste into Paint or do a snipping tool to save it as a JPEG. It has to be an image, okay? So that whatever text you're doing, it has to be turned into a JPEG or a bitmap or something like that. Okay, so we've done that. We created, in my case, I wanted to create my constant list value that I want to pass on, password protect. Okay, so now let's scroll down. What's next here? Okay, so now what we're doing is we're going to run the protect image. Okay, so let's go up here, and here we are. Now let's run this tool. And then double click on it. It's going to run. Here it is. And you see it's actually called LockImage. I just named it that because I think it's a better wording, because really it is password protect image. It's also encrypt the image as well, but that's its main job. Now how this thing works is you take the image. Now you go to the folder. You take the image you want. It doesn't matter which one, JPEG or whatever, this one or this JPEG. Just pick one of it, and then you just drag and drop in there. So you notice I just dragged and dropped in there. Now if you expand this, and there's sitting right there. So now that image is inside this LockImage folder thing, right? So let's just put that here for a second, and you can see down here I say drag and drop the image into the LockImage window. So that's what I've done. pulled it down to show you. Okay, so now we want to right click and to get the properties, because what we're going to do is we're going to create a password. The easiest way to create a good password is to do it this way. Let me show you. So I say right click on the painting tool or snipping tool, JPEG. So here's the JPEG right here. You can see I've got one or the other. This is the one I used. I just right click and I get the properties. I go to checksum and I'm going to grab like MD5. So here's MD5. I'm just going to grab MD5. I'm just going to right click on it and copy, cancel. So this is what I'm doing right there, right? So you can see this is what I've written here. So this is what I've done right here. Is I've got I've opened a notepad text doc. Oh, sorry. I didn't open a new notepad text doc. What I've done is actually, well, let's just do that. It's just somewhere you can put it, right? That was the point of it. If I go here, let's just do that. Let's just follow the instructions. I paste it in here. Okay. So now I can take this out. Okay, so basically what I've done is I've taken the MD5 from the captured image there, and now I'm going to add a couple things to it. So what I said in here was this. I said open a new texted image, clip the MD5 that I just did. It could be the MD4, SH, or whatever you want, and then I include something into this password. So I'm going to put in something like NNN or $NNN. Okay, and it could be even an asterisk there. So that's my password I'm going to use. It makes it so it's nice and complicated and difficult, right? Okay, so now I'm going to do this part, right? Which is I go to the locked image, right? First I'm going to take this password and I'm going to copy it. I say copy here. Okay, let's just put it over here for a second. Here's my locked image. Now what I'm going to do is do a save. Oh, I covered this up, didn't I? Okay. So I do a file. Remember, it says it right down there. You do a file. You go to file, right? Let's do this again. And then you do save as. That's what I wrote down here now. Save as. Okay, and we're going to give it a file name. We're just first going to go to that folder that we were in, just to prove that we're all there. I'm just going to call it something. Let's call it. I'm going to call it constant, even though you don't constant one. Even though you don't give hints in file names, but I'm just going to call it that. And we're going to do a save. Remember, that's what it said. And then we're going to put the password. So we're just going to paste the password in here twice. You can see. And we click OK. Alrighty. So now we just exit this lock image here. We're just going to exit now. There. Now if we come here, you'll see what it does is it creates an executable file. The locked image creates an executable file, and using this constant.exe, you can see this constant1.exe is what it created. Now that is the image. That is the image. And to prove it to you, let's just test it, because down here, this is what we're saying here, right? What we're saying is you might want to just test it. So, right, so just test it. So here's your, again, like here's your constant one, right? I think in the clipboard we still have this password, but let's just do this again. So copy here. First I'm going to put in a wrong password to show you that it won't just take that, but okay, so here's the file it created. Okay, oops. constant1.exe. You just double click on it to run it. It didn't run it, it seemed to like, oh, there it goes. Okay, so just behind the lock image before it opens, here's the password. So let's just put in like help 1 2 3 as an example, right? I go okay, and of course it's not letting me in. Let's try something else. Blah 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 blah. So keyboard hits. Okay. No, it doesn't like it. Now I'm just going to paste the password, the actual password in there. Go okay, and there she goes. See? So now you've got the constant in there using this password. It's encrypted. It's a bitmap image, right? It's encrypted. So it's not just a bitmap image, but it's encrypted. And if you look at the source that I give you, you'll see it's encrypted. Alrighty, so there. Now that's to prove it to you. So now you can close this down, right? And what I like to do is, the first thing I'd like to do is take that exe file and you rename it. You just rename the last E on exe to an underscore, and you hit enter and you say okay. The reason why you do that is because when you try to send an executable somewhere, some email services won't let you actually send executables or even receive executables. So if you're going through the email, you got to change its name so the email service doesn't know it's an executable, because it doesn't actually check its content as much as it just checks the labeling, like the extension and what it's called, to associate it with something. So I find this works. So if you take like the E at the end there and just do an underscore, so that's where this part right here comes in. You can see I just said do that. Now you can delete the snipping tool JPEGs. Now you can take these two JPEGs that we created, select them and delete them, because you don't need it anymore, right? So we'll delete them. There we go. So now they're gone. So the only thing left from this now is just the executable. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, that's this part right here. Okay, we've deleted them. Now what we're going to do is right click on the file name we created, and we're going to display the properties window hash values. So we'll just go to this guy that we just created right here, and we're going to do the properties checksums. So here's all our checksum values. See, right there. And what we're going to do, oh, I better put it over here for now, just for this moment. We come and we, okay, so I have something called, and you'll see in the other video if you watch it, something called ConstantList paper. It's a physical paper, so like example. An actual paper, and it's got the constant values. It's got the constant. What happened is I got a constant list, and there's an encrypted version of it, and then there's a paper version of it. And this paper version, I put in any changes I make or any constants I create and that I send on this piece of paper, and then later, or sometime when I have time and I accumulate a few of them, I go and update my encrypted version, and I store that online somewhere, email or somewhere. but I only hold a paper copy of it. Okay, my encrypted version for best results is to have it offline, like on a stick or something, but a lot of times that's not a convenience. It's easier to store it in an email. So it definitely has to be encrypted, like heavy duty, and that tells you in the other video how to do that. But for now, because we created this one and we need to hold on to the information, right? So what we do is on this piece of paper, we write down the password. We write this all down, this 8288D1137D. You can just do it while you're talking and then go back and check it, right? On this piece of paper. The file name, of course, we're going to call it constant 1EX underscore, right? Hash value, and the only hash value we store on my constant paper is just the SH value. So you want the SHA-1. This is the one that I want. So we take this and we say EE622D0F68E blah blah blah. And we got that on that piece of paper. So you'll see, so we put it on a piece of paper. This is the ConstantList paper. So we got it, before we move on, right? And then we can update this thing later sometime. But in the meantime, you got that information. That's the most important piece of information you need. Now we can cancel this out. And so we can close the properties window. I think I already did, didn't I? Yes, I think I did. I did close it. Yes, sorry, I did close it. And so that one's done. And then we close the untitled window, which is this one here. So because of course it's not saved, it's not going to be in the buffer anywhere, right? So we can just close it. We got the information. Don't save. Okay, it says right in there. Don't save. See? You just close it and don't save. And because we deleted the JPEGs, you'll see over here. You see this guy right here? This is your recycle bin. Windows has recycle bin. Mac has some recycle bin area. They all do. Like if you double click on this guy, you'll see there's your freaking JPEGs sitting in there, right? So that's why you got to do that. So what you do is you empty your recycle bin, right? Say yes, because these files, even though they're deleted, they're not deleted. Okay, that's what happens. Then what you want to do is power down, power up, restart or reboot your PC or your laptop. And the reason why you do that too is because things like if you use the snipping tool, that'll still be sitting maybe in clipboard, or there could be some cache stuff, and you just want to make sure there's nothing sitting in the cached area left over what you did, right? Once you reboot, like I'm not going to reboot right now because I'm trying to save time, but this is ideal. If you don't want to reboot, you don't have to, but don't forget clipboard's got the information sitting in there, and there might be some other cached area that's got some information. So as long as you go back online again, there's always a chance a hacker has a tool that's scraping that stuff. And I'm just trying to tell you, if you reboot, it's going to clear it out, right? So, all right, so let's pretend that we rebooted it. This is a demo for you, so I'm not worried about this. I'm not even going to use that constant value, but I'm just trying to give you a description of how this whole thing works. So let's say we reboot the machine. So here we go. We do a reboot. Bang, bang, bang. Power down, power up. So we did that. That basically clears it right out. You come up at scratch. The first thing you want to do is go to your control panel, your network connections, and then you just want to start it back up again. So in this case, if you unplug the wire, you plug it back in, and then you enable it again, and you're back, and you're going to be back and running here. Okay, so there we go. Now we're back and running, so the internet's working on your machine, everything's been flushed, you're all good. So that brings you to this point right here, which is enable Wi-Fi. Okay, so what I want to do next is to so what you would do next is you've got this file now, you know, this constant one. What you'd want to do is you want to email it. Okay, so you would open your email, okay, whether that's online, you know, over a browser, or whether it's some sort of Outlook or some sort of Thunder, what is it called? Thunder something? Thunderbird. You know, whether it's whatever tool you're using for accessing your email, right? You're going to create, what you're going to do is you're going to create an attachment, right? So you're going to attach to your email this file, right? You're going to attach this to your file, and because it's underscored, it'll probably accept it. Now what you want to do is you also, including in that email, you want to include, right click on here, grab the properties, check some values, and you grab all this. Okay, you grab all this information, include that in your email. So you pop that into your email with the attachment, right? So you've got this, and then you've got the attached file, you've got the clipboard contents of the hash values of that file, which is all this in your email, and you send it to your friend. Okay. Now they don't have, they obviously don't. You're not sending the password in on the same one, right? So the next thing you want to do is normally you have your phone. You've got your phone of your recipient person you've sent to, and number as well as the email. You usually don't just have email. So you'll take and you'll do an SMS text message to them, and you'll email them, of course, that you sent the file name, right? And in the text include the SHA1. So the file name, you say to them, hey, I just sent you file name, constant1exe underscore, and the hash value is EEE whatever, right? So that way they can, when they go into their email, it's in two places. If for some reason the email got hacked and they changed the SHA in the email, well, they're going to have to hack your phone too and change it there as well, the SHA. If they're not the same, you can compare it against your email. There's an issue. Somebody's trying to mess with you. Okay? It's just a level of security. This is all about having levels of security. If you don't care, you don't do it. You're rushed, don't do it. But don't forget, you're compromising yourself. Every time you don't do a piece of security, and if you get doing this on a regular basis, it becomes a habit, and you don't think twice. You don't even, it's just like 5 more seconds of work or whatever, instead of becoming any kind of chore. And then lastly but not least, you can do it in a number of ways, but here we go again. I suggest you phone them and verbally give what's on your paper, the password, okay? Or you can snail mail it. Okay, so you can phone the recipient after you've texted them and say, listen, here's the password, talk it over the phone. But they've got apps now that can understand what you're saying and translate it. They transcribe. It's called transcribing, and they transcribe audio to paper, right? So they've been doing that in hospitals and places like that forever already, but they can do it easily. NSA and those guys that have algorithms, automatic algorithms that translate phone conversations. But again, like I said, you're doing everything you can to minimize getting hacked. Or the next level would be just snail mail it. So get a card, take the password, file name, and the hash value SHA1 and mail it to them. It's going to take, you're going to have to wait till the mail gets there. But write it on that card. So they have to actually, it's not actually electronic, right? So that's a level of security that you could do if you don't want to do this. That's what I would do. I'd probably snail mail it because I can't, I don't trust the phone at all. But I mean, if I'm super desperate and I want them to get it, you know, verbally would be the next one below that. And of course, the last one would be like send it in an SMS or something. And of course, the best way, totally, the best way, and that's why I wrote it here, is to take that password and deliver it to them in person on a piece of paper. So you meet with them and then you say, here's the piece of paper that's got the password on there. After you put it somewhere safe, rip it up, you know, eat it or burn it or something. So that's, you know, it depends on how high a level of security. So as you're going along, this whole system is all about levels of security and how much you want. It's up to you. You can make it super simple and do the minimal and still have security, but it's compromised security because you can't be guaranteed. If you put all the efforts in that I've got here for you, you're pretty freaking secure. Like I said, the government has to be using all their resources to attack you, to go for it. And even then, it's gonna take them so much effort and time. They're not gonna do it. You got to be pretty important for that to be going down. And they can't do it to a bunch of people at once because they don't even have the resources. A lot of this stuff about the encryption, it could take, you know, like thousands of years to freaking try to decrypt. You know, maybe with, like I said, quantum computers, you know, they'll be able to pick it up a notch, but quantum computers are expensive and there's so many issues with quantum computers, so they're not going to get there. And they'll probably save it for the most important spying that they can do. They're not going to use it on us. Okay, so this is what we've got here now. So this whole thing now, again, like I said, was about, right? So what we are about is password protect JPEGs. The tools that use not only in this, but in all the other videos that I do is hash check install, which is used for checking checksum values, which anytime you're moving files around, creating files and sending files to friends and whatever, you always check the values, the checksum values. That's just a security level that you want to do to make sure you don't have corrupt or hacked or destroyed or manipulated files. And password protect image is what I call it. You can rename it back to LockImage if you want. Changing its name is not going to matter. I left it as password protect image because that's what it's understandable. It's easy to understand. And don't forget too, if you look up here, the file. Look how small these guys are. You know, it's 32K. That's how much that executable is. Hash check. It's only like 85K. L menu, like in the other one there. I'm pretty sure it's like under 100K or something. Like they're all small stuff. They run on all Windows versions, any Windows versions you want. And they create small encrypted files too. Like even this image. Look at this. You know, that image right there. It's only 40K. Like it depends on how big you want or what kind of quality you want, but you can keep everything really small. L menu encrypted files are super small. And when they zip up super small. Okay, I'm not going to blab on anymore, but thank you for watching. And I think my next tool is my next video is going to be important too, because I've got a super great idea about how you can use Proton Mail as an example. What you do is you share accounts. So that's another way of you being able to kind of like transfer data and communicate and to fight the freedom fight with NSA and these people that are tracking us. You start sharing email accounts, even phone numbers and stuff. Okay, so it's another idea, and I'll explain that as we go. Take care. family and friends, anybody that's, like I said, this stuff's free. Enjoy.